67. You have endured 24 hours of war's causes, strategies, excuses, lies. I've focused on private company, public politician conspiracies for weapon sales, leader power, and bigoted hatred. Another motive: criminal commander-in-chiefs warring, murdering, and clutching office to stay out of jail. I've already told you the story of the Republican American president up for re-election seizing the opportunity of Democratic-governed coastal states exploding initial tens of thousands of COVID deaths. He abruptly canceled most federal contagion control aid very secretly, exponentially worsening the crisis he hoped would be blamed on opponent state leaders by enraged voters switching to him by the millions. Deliberately caused, then, a huge fraction of the U.S. 1.3 million body count for a single evil man's power grab. Men will do anything for giant money and giant power. Exactly why you must legally end 100% of the dirty money and 99.9999999% of their scorched earth power. The same man, his genocide ignored or forgotten by nearly all, may be president again by the time you hear me. Summer of 2024, his campaign hammers permanent Israeli attack on the entire population of Arabs he hates. His lawyers for years managed delay of his federal prosecutions for launching an army of 6,000 to bash into congressional certification of 7 million vote 2020 winner Joe Biden, for attempting to rig his own false victory with fake electors, and stealing hundreds of top-secret documents from the White House when his attempt to hijack another term failed. His only chance to avoid dying in a federal penitentiary is winning a second term so he can order his Justice Department to drop all charges or pardon himself in the unlikely event that it doesn't. The man America delivers those thousands of 2,000-pound bombs to, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, remains under indictment for fraud, breach of trust, and accepting bribes. He's taking full advantage of the outrageous injustice of making by far the most dangerous, if guilty, criminal in the nation untouchable, by definitely not virtue of perpetuating war to avoid reckoning and landslide dismissal from office. Chief executives all over the world, thanks to hamstrung, subservient justice departments, remain kings who can do no wrong while wearing their crowns. Correction, they can do wrong 1,000,000 times worse than the Emperor of Hades. Your treaty will cancel that crap by requiring full independent, all citizens and leaders held to legal account, national justice departments just to join that treaty. Or how the hell can the big shot be made to obey that, right? Netanyahu faces a commission indictment for inviting the Hamas attack and causing numerous hostage deaths the minute he ends his pointless Gaza civilian slaughter and starvation, rapidly followed by the most massive prime minister dismissal vote in Israel's history. Then, quickly as Mr. Trump, the huge pile of slam dunk felony counts will drop his ass on an iron cot for his last years. The only rationale for any nation's Justice Department suspension of presidential prosecution for mass destructive crime that chief executives are especially empowered and prone to commit is that the unique critical duties of the nation's numero uno would be disturbed to the public's detriment with legal challenges and courtroom appearances. National crises could worsen. So never mind stopping the likely chronic criminal president. Let him savage vast populations, domestic and foreign. Interrupting and halting such horrors clearly more harmful than letting him rage on, right? Now you get the laughable liar's real motives. Attorney generals are hired by and serve only at the pleasure of the big dog at issue. Touch me, I'll fire you fast. And if an endless 50,000 corpse war can keep me in office and out of jail, then kill, kill, kill. In our treaty, every national justice department, top to bottom, will consist of pro-careerists that not a single partisan politician appoints or bosses. Legal and illegal behavior of every political officer will be determined and enforced by rule of laws, not men, that not a single little citizen or big leader for a single minute remains above. Break one law, including all tenets of international treaties domestically ratified, and here come the judge, here come the judge, order in the courtroom, here come the judge. You have heard about all you can handle, about private campaign cash buying the end of the world. So your national suits and international treaty must institute public campaign finance only. I am a useful enough Power Nation historian, a total amateur, and I do demand your reform work with my extremely loud mouth. But you'd appreciate far better information from an expert. On NPR, I heard Daniel Weiner, Harvard Law graduate and head of the Brennan Center's Elections and Government program that studies and designs reforms of money in politics. Most democracies around the world, certainly not the United States, he said, sharply limit individual and corporate contributions to partisan causes and candidates, allowing mostly legislature-appropriated public money to be spent during very few-month maximum campaigns. In nations like America, with unlimited campaigning fueled and publicized by rich men and big companies, giant cross-sections of voters express both concern and anger about private corruption of government. Of course, unlike Mr. Weiner, we don't do shit about it. Just ever allow our propagandized mush for brains to keep choosing the evil of two lessers. In sum, this is actually good news. 100 nations are approaching, not yet achieving all public, no private, every candidate equal campaign financing. And the more backward 95 are filled with people consciously choking on the stench, damage, and lethal tragedy of weaponeers and polluters buying our ruin for $1 billion in government contracts or sweetheart non-regulations for every $1 million politician bribe. Doesn't this mean that our national lawsuits and world treaty could explode to victory over the fertile ground of well-advanced world election reform and equally primed and educated world opinion in favor of family fairness and care forced on laggard, unprincipled power nations? Matthew's Beatitudes holds the well-worn saying, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God." Whose holy grace empowers this tiny minority to succeed? No, almost never. I hate to break it to you, but God is not almighty, but flat useless, impotent, until he works through a billion yous and me's with hands, mouths, ink pens, phones, and mouses. Not to evangelize sweet moral inspiration, but to kick legal ass. Law against weapons, for democracy, against corruption, for love and equality education. Only your actions win your family's survival and long, happy future. Go now and never, never quit.